Hello and welcome back to More to the Story. I'm Lucas Kitchen, and we are in our special podcast series, The History of the Holy Land from Abraham to Hamas. We have covered quite a bit of history, and now we are up to the moment in time right after the War of Independence in 1948 and the period that follows, which saw growing conflict with Israel's Arab neighbors. So, let's get right to this episode, which I'm calling the 6-Day War.
As the fire of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict continued, other Arab nations were still nursing grudges, following their defeat in Israel's War for Independence of 1948.
In 1956, Egypt's president, Gamal Abdel Nasser, decided to take control of the Suez Canal, a crucial waterway for international trade and oil transportation. Nasser's move rang alarm bells for Israel as it heightened the threat from a nation already hostile to the young Jewish state.
Israel, the United Kingdom, and France devised a secret agreement, which later became known as the Protocol of Sèvres. The plan called for Israel to invade the Sinai Peninsula to provide a pretext for British and French intervention under the guise of separating the warring parties, Israel and Egypt, and ensuring the free passage of ships through the Suez Canal, which had been nationalized by Egypt's president, Gamal Abdel Nasser.
In accordance with the plan, on October 29, 1956, Israel invaded Egypt, making rapid advancements into the Sinai. Britain and France issued an ultimatum, demanding both parties withdraw from the area, knowing Nasser would not do it.
Once Egypt did not comply, British and French forces commenced bombardments and paratrooper drops in proximity to the canal zone under the pretext of maintaining neutrality and ensuring the free passage of ships, though in reality aiming to regain control over the Suez Canal and potentially depose Nasser. The operation was met with strong opposition, particularly from the United States and the Soviet Union, and under intense diplomatic pressure, the invading forces were withdrawn. This marked a turning point in the post-World War II global power structure, as it showcased the diminishing influence of European colonial powers and the rising dominance of the USA and the USSR on the global stage.
On the home front, there were still conflicts as well. During the interwar years, the State of Israel faced continuous security crisis, notably from the Fedayeen raids. These were attacks conducted by Palestinian militants, which often targeted innocent Israeli civilians. In response to these ongoing threats, Israel was compelled to launch retaliatory strikes to protect its citizens and deter future assaults.
Meanwhile, the region experienced a surge in Arab nationalism, with Nasserism gaining substantial influence. The charismatic Egyptian leader championed this ideology, promoting anti-Israel sentiments and further escalating tensions in the Middle East.
In 1964, the Palestine Liberation Organization, PLO, was established, proclaiming itself as the representative of the Palestinian people. The PLO's formation was viewed with deep concern, as the organization immediately took a hard-line position against Israel's existence and engaged in acts of violence.
For Israelis, these developments underscored the precarious security environment they were navigating and highlighted the necessity of maintaining a strong and vigilant defense posture to ensure the nation's survival and prosperity.
the tense atmosphere of 1967, Israel found itself, once again, on the brink of annihilation, with Arab states like Syria and Egypt, who were openly hostile, amassing troops along its borders.
Egypt took aggressive steps, expelling the peacekeeping United Nations emergency force from Sinai and blocking Israel's access to the vital Straits of Tiran, effectively strangling Israel's maritime trade.
In a daring move to ensure its survival, Israel launched a preemptive airstrike on June 5, 1967, decimating the air forces of the opposing nations and gaining a strategic advantage.
This initiated the Six-Day War, which saw Israel making rapid territorial gains, including the Sinai Peninsula, Gaza Strip, West Bank, East Jerusalem, and the Golan Heights, areas critical for the young nation's security.
Following the war, the UN Security Council passed Resolution 242, calling for Israel to withdraw from territories in exchange for peace. Israel would eventually return the Sinai and make territorial concessions with Jordan, but only after another forthcoming war, which they would once again win.
In the aftermath of the 1967 Six-Day War, the balance of power in the Middle East shifted considerably. With its decisive victory, Israel emerged as a formidable military force in the region, securing its borders and providing its citizens with a sense of safety amid a turbulent neighborhood. However, this new reality also brought challenges.
The territories captured during the conflict, which Israel deemed essential for its defense, became areas of ongoing unrest. While these actions were viewed as security necessities by Israel, they also drew international scrutiny and intensified the debate around the Palestinian question.
These developments set the stage for a series of subsequent confrontations, such as the War of Attrition and the Yom Kippur War, further entangling the region in a complex web of political and military strife.
This was a defining era for both Israel and the broader Middle East, laying down the framework for the region's geopolitics for years to come.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode in our special podcast series, The History of the Holy Land from Abraham to Hamas, which is an episode of the broader show that we call More to the Story. This show is produced by me, Lucas Kitchen, and published by Free Grace International. For more info or other shows like this one, you can go to www.freegrace.in. You can reach out to us through email. That's info@freegrace.in. Well, thank you so much for listening, and I look forward to being back with you sometime soon.